I don't know. I want to make sure. I believe it once I see him in the ring.
If Paul starts his boxing career earlier, could Jake Paul have been a champion?
There's a possibility. You know what I remember? Coming back from the first round, and then the next day I remember Jacob doing some kind of, I don't know, what was he doing at the ring?
Oh, yeah. A little bow at the end. He bowed.
And that's the last thing I remember. You know, but the day after the fight, right after the day after, I woke up, I told my wife, why did I do that? You know, I don't know. I just don't know what the hell goes on.
Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet, is finally breaking his silence, and his words are sending shockwaves through the boxing world. After witnessing Anthony Joshua deliver the brutal knockout that finally silenced the problem child in Miami, Tyson's first reaction hasn't just raised eyebrows, it has completely flipped the script on everything we thought we knew about his loyalty. For weeks, rumors swirled that Iron Mike was playing a mysterious double game behind the scenes, whispering into Joshua's ear while the world questioned whose side he was truly on. But now, the truth is out. This isn't just a simple post-fight comment, it is The energy inside the Kaseya Center was unlike anything boxing has seen in years, fueled by a mix of genuine curiosity and a strange sense of impending doom for the YouTuber-turned-boxer. We all saw the headlines leading up to December 19th, but what happened in those final moments before the first bell was chilling. Mike Tyson, acting as a mentor to Joshua, had been drilling a single dark philosophy into the former heavyweight champion's head. He didn't tell him to box, and he didn't tell him to play it safe. His instructions were raw, brutal, and straight from the era of the 1980s Iron Mike. He told Joshua to rip into Paul with everything he had, regardless of fatigue, ending the instructions with a haunting command.
Hey everybody, I'm in a lot of pain right now. My face got very swollen. I'll be back very soon. In the morning, I can't sleep. My jaw's busted. They wired it up a couple hours ago and it hurts every time I move my mouth. I lost tonight. I gave everything and I still lost. Feels like I let everyone down. I'm not unbreakable.
But it causes repeated trauma to the brain. And over years and years of this happening, people can get what's called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE syndrome. And it's almost like a disease because with repeated trauma to the brain, and that can lead to memory problems, mood swings, even trouble with movements, and eventually people can develop dementia like Alzheimer's disease. And Jake Paul got knocked out by Anthony Joshua this past Friday night. And so I want to break this down from a medical perspective. I'm a neurosurgeon with over 25 years of experience. And so, you know, what happens is when you get hit in the head with that kind of force, like in boxing, our brain actually moves inside our skull and it can bump into the skull, which is a firm structure, and cause bruising of the brain.
私は少しめちゃくちゃだけど、あなたは永遠に私を大事にしてくれますか?
Jake Paul gets his jaw broken. Not only that, but he gets his lower jaw broken from the right and the left side. So both sides, and not.
But here's where the story takes a turn into the truly unexpected. Just minutes before Jake Paul made his walk to the ring, a walk that many now believe he never should have taken. The locker room doors swung open, and in walked Mike Tyson. This wasn't a coaching visit for AJ. This was a surprise face-to-face with the man he was supposed to be rooting against. Tyson's first words to Jake Paul in that high-tension environment weren't full of the malice he'd shared with Joshua. Instead, he looked Jake in the eyes and spoke about the nature of greatness. He told Jake that while this was an extreme challenge, only those who dare to be great actually achieve it. He reminded the kid that the people who never take their shot are the ones who stay small. In that moment, Tyson wasn't just a mentor to the winner. He was a witness to the problem child's potential sacrifice.
Only this, following that, he went through an emergency surgery procedure to get that sorted out, and titanium plates were inserted to help stabilize the case. This will take long to fully heal.
Drinking every night and doing all this and beat you.
Yeah, it was bad.
If you look at the fight, he was much slower. He only threw a hook. Like, He was going like tie him down and catch him with a good shot and shit like that.
So wait, do you think, curious, because it's a business aspect, but again, I'm still a nigga and I'm still a casual fan, so I'm being real, so hold on.
A couple of times, pushed down on the back of his neck, pushed down on the back of his head, got him to the ground. There was a few times where Jake looked like he was going for a takedown. Again, that was Jake trying to engage in the clinch, and AJ smartly moved back. In one instance, I think it was the 5th round, Jake engaged for a clinch, AJ moved back and started punching.
To Anthony Joshua sleeping Jake and breaking his jaw in 2 different places, along with breaking his teeth. Gervonta joined the fun with the rest of the boxing community by throwing a meme on Jake Paul. That was his reaction, as you guys see above.
Jake Paul was knocked out in round 6 and suffered 2 fractures to his left jaw. Here's the moment that did it.
Chin served on the platter for that right hand right there. And look at Jake Paul's face.
There's no way I can share the actual injury here. It's a bit too gruesome as the camera was put inside Jake's mouth and his teeth were actually not in a straight line. They were separated from the others as the jaw deviated. The question is though, what kind of recovery process Jake would be
down on Jake's back. So all of those things kind of deteriorated or emptied Jake's gas tank a lot earlier than I think he expected it to. But overall, I thought he deployed his game plan well for the first 5 rounds and actually had some success. He even moved AJ back a few times, 1 by just jabbing in the air, and 2, when he caught him, he moved AJ.
When the bell finally rang, the weight difference was immediately apparent. Joshua stepped in 30 pounds heavier, looking like a literal mountain compared to the man who had previously beaten a much older, more stationary version of Tyson. For 5 rounds, Jake Paul fought a retreating battle, trying to find the same openings he used against aging legends and MMA fighters. But the raw and brutal strategy Tyson had instilled in AJ was working like a charm. Joshua wasn't just throwing punches, he was hunting. By the 5th round, the momentum had shifted entirely, with Paul hitting the canvas twice. The Miami crowd, which had been vocal in their frustration early on, suddenly went silent as the realization hit. This wasn't an exhibition, this was a demolition. Like somebody I know. The climax arrived in the 6th round with a ferocity that few expected. Anthony Joshua landed a right hand, so devastating that it didn't just end the fight, it sent Jake Paul straight to the hospital with a suspected broken jaw. The problem child had finally met a real problem, and the aftermath was nothing short of chaotic. As the medical teams rushed in, the cameras immediately panned to Tyson, who was watching his protégé's work with a look of stoic approval. His post-fight reaction was a masterclass in complexity. He expressed a deep respect for Paul's toughness, acknowledging that the kid had stayed in there longer than many expected. But he didn't stop there. Almost immediately, Tyson's mind jumped to the future, and what he said next has the entire boxing world in a frenzy.
Hey guys, I'm okay. Just pray for me, alright?
Yeah, he just represents everything that's wrong with boxing, unprofessionalism, and you know he's getting what you know, he's reaping what he sows. But I hate working with people like that. He stands everyone up, film crews, everything, doesn't do any promotion.
Jake Paul was knocked out in round 6 and suffered 2 fractures to his left jaw. Here's the moment that did it.
Chin served on a platter for that right hand right there. And look at Jake Paul's face.
There's no way I can share the actual injury here, it's a bit too gruesome as the camera was put inside Jake's mouth and his teeth were actually not in a straight line, they were separated from the others as the jaw deviated. The question is though, what kind of recovery process Jake would be
AJ back. AJ came right back in and swung, but he did move him back.
When this fight was first announced, you said to several media members that like initially you weren't down for this fight. You thought it was just a little bit too much too soon, to paraphrase. Did he do better? Did Jake do better than you thought? Result aside, obviously you wanted him to win. You thought, I think by the end that he was going to win, but did he actually do better than you thought initially?
And doesn't do any posts, but it is what it is. I'm actually glad this all happened this way so that he doesn't get, you know, the biggest paycheck of his life and just continues to be a piece of shit.
The Ring 4, November 22nd. Watch only on DAZN.
Yeah, there's a lot of punching down, practicing, hitting below my knees, and a lot of speed.
He warming up.
We're
now.
sparring.
That's what we need.
We're sparring.
Warm up.
Some
I know
8-year-olds. I got the 8-year-olds in there.
If I find out anything, I'm gonna beat your ass and I'm gonna beat Jaden Love ass. On my mama, I'm gonna beat both of y'all ass. On my mama. And he laughing. He know.
You would think that seeing a man's jaw shattered would be enough to close the book on this rivalry. But Iron Mike is built differently. In his first official post-match comments, Tyson revealed that he is wide open to a rematch with Jake Paul in. Keep in mind, Tyson is approaching 60 and has a massive exhibition scheduled with Floyd Mayweather in the spring. Yet he claims that his experiences training with AJ have taught him how to prepare better than ever before. He admitted that in his first fight with Jake, he left his best work in the gym by training too intensely. Now, watching AJ execute his game plan to perfection, Tyson seems convinced he can return and finish what he started. It is a move that feels equal parts legendary and dangerously ambitious, leaving fans wondering if the cycle of influencer boxing will ever truly end. The fallout on social media was an entirely different beast. Anthony Joshua didn't hold back, taking to X to post a photo of the knockout blow with the savage caption, "Netflix and chill," accompanied by a throat slit emoji. The post went nuclear, racking up millions of impressions within minutes. Meanwhile, the UK's favorite antagonist, Tyson Fury, decided to weigh in, calling Joshua's kill comments classless. This didn't sit well with AJ, who used his post-fight interview to call out the Gypsy King directly, setting the stage for what could be the biggest heavyweight clash in British history. Even KSI joined the fray, posting a reaction video that mocked Paul's defeat, further stirring the pot of a community that thrives on high-level drama and public feuds. Now both Joshua and Paul are facing indefinite medical bans following the brutality of the match, which is standard procedure for a knockout of this magnitude, but the questions lingering in the air are much bigger than a temporary suspension. Was Tyson's involvement a way to vicariously get revenge for his own loss to Paul? Did he purposefully mold Joshua into a weapon to prove that the old-school style still reigns supreme? And most importantly, is the world ready to see a 59-year-old Mike Tyson step back into the ring with a man who just had his jaw broken by a prime heavyweight? The drama surrounding these first words proves that in the world of modern boxing, the fight in the ring is only half the story. The real game is played in the whispers, the locker room visits, and the calculated revelations that keep us all watching. As the dust settles in Miami and Jake Paul begins a long recovery process, the landscape of the sport has shifted once again. Anthony Joshua has reclaimed his status as a terrifying force. Tyson has re-entered the conversation as a potential 2026 headliner. And the problem child is left to pick up the pieces of a career that many thought was untouchable. Tyson's words to Paul about daring to be great might have been the ultimate parting gift. Or perhaps it was a subtle warning that the baddest man on the planet isn't done with him just yet. Only time will tell if we are looking at the end of an era or the beginning of a much more dangerous chapter. That is all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video. Peace.
Right, listen, respect to Jake. You know, he was a tough guy in there. Obviously, he moved a lot and made it difficult for AJ. And AJ's been out of the ring for a while. He's a bit rusty. It took him time to just get hold of him, but I was impressed with Jake. And listen, as I said to Nikisa, at the end of the day, he took shots that a lot of people would have got knocked out clean out by, especially at the end. You know. So
Was it frustrating for you to watch?
No, I mean maybe like obviously when someone's moving like that, like.
Respect to Jake Paul that we took a few rounds to get going because Jake was moving a lot and holding a lot, and you know it was difficult to nail him clean. I think, but eventually AJ took his time, cut him off, and smashed him about. And listen, respect to Jake Paul because that last shot, I know he broke his shattered his jaw, but it would have knocked most heavyweights out. So I've got to give him credit.
I was going to say, in the end, are you pleased with that? Because obviously everyone was saying,
we'll argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people just wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet. Who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet, my brother is.
And when they're rugby tackling you, but he had to do what he had to do to survive. And he did that. So, you know, it's very difficult to go in like, you know, out of the ring for 14 months and just be razor sharp with a guy running. And so, yeah, probably 2 or 3 rounds more than expected. But fair play to Jake Paul. He was a lot tougher than I thought, and he took a lot more shots than I thought he could.
What did AJ tell you inside the ring about the fighter?
Wicked fight. Respect to Jake Paul for taking the fight. Took a heavy shot, but you know what? What a fantastic fight he put on. But big well done to AJ. We knew from day one AJ was going to do it, but the better fighter was going to win.
People said that Jake Paul was running. Do you feel like he ran, or do you like?
I mean, against someone like AJ, AJ's a big guy, strong guy, and he can hurt you. So yeah, 100%. Like he's gonna want to avoid his power, but you know what? He got caught in the corner and bang, he was out.
Or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done: tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things. 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that.
We'll argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people just wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet. Who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet, my brother is.
Graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is fighting's not just physical, it's psychological.